Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going over the new Kill Team Moroch box. So before we get into things, let me just say thanks to Games Workshop for providing this to me to review for free. As always, I aim to be honest and impartial and constructively critical. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. And please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you think of the video as well as the new box as a whole. Do you like the kill teams? Do you not? Do you hate them? Anything, just let me know your feedback. And if you want, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But without further ado, let's go on with it. But yes, Kill Team Moroch is the new quarterly box released for Kill Team, containing the Phobos Space Marine Kill Team and the Traitor Guard for the powers of chaos. So we're still set in effectively Nakmund, the area around it. So we're kind of in the Nakmund Gauntlet still. Moroch in particular is set in Warzone Sanctus, an area near the Vigilus Warzone. Once this was a peaceful and, well, Imperium-controlled sector, but with the eruption of the Great Rift, now it's in hot contention as a gateway into the Nakmund Gauntlet. So the forces of chaos are trying to control and take over all the worlds, whereas the forces of the Space Marines and the Imperium are trying to prevent this and secure worlds that are either remaining loyal to the Imperium or have fallen to chaos and need wiping out so the Imperium can take over. So it's still, effectively, it's a sequel to Nakmund as well. Chaos is everywhere. So overall, I know people aren't really too hyped for another Chaos box in a row with General Space Marines, but overall, I think it's pretty neat. So with the narrative out of the way, I'll go into the box in general, then I'll cover the kill teams briefly, but as always, I'll do a separate video for each kill team, and then I'll cover the rest of the contents. Okay, so welcome to the unboxing part of this review for Kill Team Moroch. As you can see, it's quite big, quite thick as well. Pretty thick, like at least, say, 6 inches thick. There's a lot of stuff in here. So instead of being wrapped in plastic, this time it's just wrapped in cardboard. So let's flip it out, which is nice. And then on the back of the box shows you everything you get inside. So you get 10 Chaos Guardsmen with an Ogrin and a Commissar, and then you get 10 Infiltrators / Incursors. And then you get all this lovely terrain. So let's take this off. Obviously you have to be 12 and over. I'm a big boy, so that's fine for me. So here's the terrain. These are the marine parts, so you obviously get 10 Infiltrators and Incursors, which I'll put to the side. This is your guards, well, your Traitor Guardsmen. This is your Ogrin, and this is your upgrade sprue for the Space Marines. There should be a Commissar. Oh, the Commissar is part of the Ogrin sprue, yeah, because it's from Blackstone Fortress. And you got all this terrain, which is only a month old, remember, considering it launched literally a month ago. So this is the old Frontierist terrain. This is the new terrain. Oh. At least it's easy to build. And you build 1 Sky Shield to landing pad, whatever, comms tower, Sky TV dish, and then you've got some walls. I've already got an old Frontierist box, so this is actually great for me. Oh, running out of space. I'll put this on the... Oh no. Oh no. Put this on the side there. And then you get this card divider. Look at that. It's card. So inside you've got your Moroch book, your Moroch building guides, the bases, and transfer, well, only 1 transfers, and then a new game board. That's pretty much it. interestingly, so I've had a peek inside the book. Ooh, naughty me. So I'll cover this in the review for the Space Marines, which I'll do in a bit. But your kill team for the Space Marines includes Reavers, which aren't included. So one gripe I already have at the moment is you may not want to run Reavers, but would it have hurt just doing 5 Infiltrators and Cursors and then 5 Reavers? Otherwise, pretty impressed with everything you get. Like, oh, it is really so much stuff. And it's mainly it's not even just the terrain. You do get a lot of models. It's like, you get 22 models, which is a lot. With all this terrain and the game board. That's pretty much it for the unboxing. I'll look through the Chaos sprues. That's what I'm quite interested by. Yeah, they're all multi-part. They can all be given las guns. So it's easy if you just, like, probably in the new Chaos Space Marine Codex, these will just be like Chaos Guardsmen you can take as part of your troops, which would be good. And you got some nice command options. The only thing I need to read through with the instructions is if the gunner, because you can take multiple gunners, so you have 4 gunners. So you can take plasma, flamer, melter, and a grenade launcher. So I'll just check the instructions. Because I want to know if you don't have to share arms, like you did with the Veteran Guardsmen. As in, the gunners all don't have the same arms. So let's look to the Vet Guard. Okay, that's pretty cool. It looks like they all have unique arms, which is great. Some of them share the same bodies, but it's mostly just unique arms. So, yeah, I'll just double check. Yeah, it's all unique arms. So you probably just get away with not having to buy an extra box if you don't want the full roster. But I'll go through that more in depth when I cover the kill teams. That's pretty neat, actually, for the Veteran Guardsmen. Well, for the Traitor Guardsmen. As I said, just a shame you don't get 5 Reavers or even 5 Reavers on top. But overall, really impressed by this. You get so much stuff. But now I'm done with the unboxing, I'll go back to the main review. So yeah, with that unboxing out of the way, I'll go into each kill team briefly. So first up, we have the Phobos kill team for the Space Marines. So it's our first Space Marine kill team outside of the compendium. Now, overall, it's pretty neat, actually. One of the cool things they have is they're effectively special ops Space Marines, you know? They're completely built around being sneaky Space Marines, which is great. I thought they were going to be kind of more generalized as Space Marines, having like chapter traits and stuff, but no, they're super sneaky Space Marines, and they have, like, they excel in guerrilla tactics. It's one of their main core rules. They have a lot of great personality, and I think they're pretty competitive. The only problem is how the game operates as a whole, where elite kill teams just can't deal with the bodies and like grenade spam. But outside of that, they're still a super fun kill team and really well balanced. What I like is you have a selection of special rules each kill team member can do, because your kill team operatives are, or your roster is made up of either a mixture of Reaver Marines, Phobos Infiltrators, or Phobos Incursors, and they can be a mix of both. The only downside, as I said in the unboxing, is the box comes with no Reavers, but you do get a 10-man squad of Infiltrators / Incursors. I would have liked just 5 and then 5 Reavers, but it is what it is. It's a very weird situation. It feels like a White Dwarf team that luckily got a sprue, so it switched from a White Dwarf team to a full team. But either way, it's a very neat team, and I think it's super fun. Like, they have all the archetypes and security. Their faction tack-ups are pretty decent, and yeah, they're just balanced and fun. They have a lot of sneaky tricks that helps them play around, but I need to play them more in practice to see how they do. But overall, pretty darn neat. Next, you have the Blooded kill team, which are the Traitor Militarum. These are your Chaos Guardsmen. So in the box, you get 10 Traitor Guardsmen, the Chaos Commissar, and a Chaos Ogrin. But from the roster, you can either take 10 Guardsmen and then either 4 extra Guardsmen, or the Chaos Commissar and the Ogrin each count as 2 models. So they're pretty neat with that. They're just kind of Chaos Guard. The interesting thing is you can only take 2 Gunners instead of 4, like the veteran guardsman. So maybe they might have realized having 4 gunners is too strong. So maybe Vet Guard will get this limitation as well, but we'll see. But either way, it's still a lot of bodies, and the Ogren himself is great because he is definitely worth the 2 models because he's 16 wounds, does more wounds on the charge, you can buff him really well. Definitely take him. Probably wouldn't take the Chaos Commissar just because he takes up 2 slots, but there's only 8 wounds with a 4-up save and 2 APL. If he was 3 APL, probably would take him. Otherwise, you'd probably just take the 2 other guardsmen, so you have a 13-body kill team. Now, the main downside of this kill team is that they're locked into Seek and Destroy, and the other thing is they have a very convoluted mechanic. So their special thing is blooded tokens, so you get 1 per turning point. You get 1 every time a friendly operative dies within red of the enemy drop zone, well, once per turning point, and you get another 1 when you kill an enemy operative. So the max you're going to get is 3 per turn. So they're collected as a pool, and then you allocate them to an operative once per turning point in your strategy phase. But if the operative dies with that blooded token, it's lost unless you use like some special ability to save it. So if you have a blooded token, you effectively can, before you roll to shoot or attack, you can allocate an operative with a blooded token to count one of your attack dice as a successful hit. If you have 4 or more blooded tokens active and deployed on operatives, one of those operatives becomes under the gaze of the Dark Gods, and instead of retaining a hit, they retain a critical hit. So my only problem is, it takes a long time to get these blooded tokens, very convoluted, and it's just super slow. And the other problem is your faction tac ops are basically tied to these like being under the gaze of the Dark Gods, as well as some of your special rules. So they're a very slow starting kill team. They are pretty good at killing because they have a grenadier who comes with 3 types of grenades, and they can take 3 crack grenades. So what you end up doing is 2 gunners, so usually either plasma gun and then either the grenade launcher or melter gun, and then 4 crack grenades. And you just run at your opponent. You've got an Ogren who, your medic, who's like a weird chaos medic, will basically give that Ogren 6 up, feel no pain, and then relentless. So that just runs forward. So it's super rush down, but they're very limited. I know they're basically just individual melee warriors that just want to run towards the enemy and kill them, which is fine. But I kind of wish they operated more like the Blood Pact, where they were still chaos but organized instead of being chaos and disorganized, if that makes sense. Because, you know, the Vet Guard work as a nice group, whereas these guys just work as individuals, which is reflective of the background, but I feel is kind of detrimental gameplay-wise, because you just go, everyone's just going to run forward, and try and kill you. That I still think they're very good because of that. Their only problem is they're locked into Seek and Destroy, which is unreliable at times, and their faction tac ops are not good. Like, it's very odd how bad their faction tac ops are. But they're still a fun kill team to play. They're just like hardcore rush down Vet Guard with some more focus on melee. I would have liked it if the blooded tokens were a little bit made more sense, but you know, it's not as hard to generate. You know, you can spend a CP to generate one. It's not too rush. Rash is just odd. It feels like a kill team that was toned down a lot, and I can see why. But they kind of 4 crack grenades doesn't feel right to me. But it is what it is. But that's it for the kill teams. Overall, I think both are very thematic and fun. They seem fairly balanced. I love the Phobos kill team, but I personally feel the Traitor Guard are probably better on paper, just because the Phobos Marines, you're going to have to play like super hardcore. You're going to have to kill like several operatives before you die. Like, you need to like make sure your trades are on point. Like, a Marine needs to be killing 2 to 3 operatives before they die. If you're facing something like a 10-man or 14-man operative list. But both are really fun to play, and it mirrors how the Necman teams were. Maybe a little bit weaker, I'd say, but still very strong and balanced, which is what I like. Then for the terrain, you have the new Fronteras terrain, which is about a month or two old. So it's only released very recently and it's been reboxed for Kill Team Moroch. So in it, you get a new landing pad, an old Fronteras hab block, then you get a comms tower and a micro dish and 4 walls. So the interesting thing about this, everything is heavy. Flat out, everything is heavy. The landing pad is only 1 white to climb. That's a special rule, and it's just a heavy block. The comms tower is a punishing vantage point with scalable, but it can only ever be held by 1 operative, as its special rule is only 1 operative can be on it at a time, so you can't have 2 or 3. So very interesting there. Then you've got the satellite dish, which is just a heavy wall, and so is that. It's just a heavy piece, and the hab block, which is just heavy as well. So the interesting thing is you have these new heavy walls, which are very good on paper. They're heavy. They specifically don't obscure line of sight if you're shooting from above them. So if you're on a vantage point, they don't count as being there, even if the cover line crosses. And they're just too white to traverse over, because technically you need to climb over them because they're heavy, but to make it a little bit easier, they're too white. My only problem is they have a gate, and I thought that gate would have the rule as a door, but it doesn't exist. It's my main gripe with the board, because I would go, those walls are great if you like, it makes sense the defenders left the gate open so they can run outside and attack people because they can block the door while just standing near it. But nope, the door doesn't exist, so you have a really blocked in area. And it just kind of feels odd to play. But because of the walls. The walls are the biggest gripe for me. I like them. They just needed, because you get 3 thick wall pieces and then 1 thick wall piece with a gate, but that gate doesn't exist. I would have just made that a door, unless they didn't make it a door because it's technically a gate and they've only got rules for doors and hatches. So we're going to have to wait for the next Kill Team box to get a rule for gates, because gates are different to doors and hatches. But otherwise, I think the board is pretty neat. I like how more spaced out it is. I personally have an old Kill Team Fronteras board, which I've mixed in with it. But what I've done with my second hab block is what Glass Half Dead suggested. So I'll show some pictures of it now, where I've effectively built it in 2 halves. And instead of cutting the floor because it's like a zigzag, I've used the broken pieces, which oddly fit really well, to make it look like it just fallen apart. And I think that with a normal Kill Team Moroch board, it's pretty much perfect. So it's actually a really nice board to play on. And the cool thing is the comms tower can effectively go on either the hab block or the landing pad or on the ground. And you can put a hab block on top of the landing pad. And then if you want to, also put the satellite dish on top of that. So you can have a big stack somewhere on the board. So actually, depending on how you place the terrain, because it's stackable, you can make very interesting and unique boards to play on. So overall, it's pretty neat. It's not as, because I was first tempted to buy the whole box when I saw people had already bought it for Kill Team, and it actually looks like a pretty decent board. My only gripe is just that the gates isn't a door. It just doesn't exist. But that's it. That's fine. Otherwise, the terrain is just all fine. Pretty neat. I'm actually really happy it's there, because it's a really unique way to play that's quite different from Chalnath and even from Nakmund. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Then we have the Sentries game mode. So it's a new narrative way to play that was introduced in, White Dwarf, but it was Moroch first. So effectively, originally you had Sentries in the last edition of Kill Team, but you actually had Sentries in the original Kill Team from 4th edition 40k. So the original Sentries were, you had like your Kill Team, and then your opponent had like 20 Klaxon counters, which were like 20 NPC operatives that were just standing still keeping sentry. And if you moved in their line of sight or they spotted you, you had the chance to kill them to stop them sounding the alarm. And if they sound the alarm, it's game over because you've been spotted and it's like a failure for that sneak mission. So they've kind of done that, where you have the attacker, you with 1 operative, and then the defender who puts 2 operatives. The only problem is you're limited in what actions you can do. You can basically just do move, dash, and mission actions. and you have to be concealed. But your operative, if you're the attacker, moves around, like doing mission actions, doing pre-game stuff, whereas the defender's two operatives have to be on engage, and then they don't get controlled. They move randomly. They move like d6 inches each time, and they move in random situations. But the moment you walk into their line of sight, they shoot you, and then it ends the Sentries phase. The only problem is, unless you heavily comp the Sentries game mode, it can last way too long, like easily up to half an hour. And it's supposed to replace the scouting phase and all that kind of setup, because after you've done it and resolved the Sentry phase, you immediately set up the rest of your kill teams. And it's just it's great for narrative, and the missions are pretty good for narrative, but I wouldn't recommend it for tournaments or competitive play. Some of the missions work, but not really. I would just leave it for narrative play, like maybe playing with your friends at home or a club night, something like that to test out. It would take far too long. You'd have to limit it to like 3 rounds. You have more control over where to go, but the problem is if you're controlling the defenders, you kind of know where your opponent is instead of what's supposed to represent. You've just got 2 guys standing guard, whereas they don't know someone's sneaking around. So that's the entire problem. I think it's a neat addition, but I've just seen a lot of people pushing it like, oh, we have to play this competitively, who aren't actually the competitive players, but they're like, oh, Event should run this. And I'm like, no. No, it doesn't work in tournaments. But as a nice casual addition and addition to narrative play, I think it's pretty neat. Probably pretty great for opening stages of a Spec Ops campaign, or like before a final mission where you're trying to set up stuff for the final mission to make it more advantageous for yourself. So overall, I like it. Just wouldn't want it near competitive play. That's all I'm saying. But overall, yeah, I think Kill Team Moroch is pretty neat. I know a lot of people are not happy with it, but for me, I like it, you know. Love the Phobos Space Marines. I've made them all into Black Templars. Awesome. They have really thematic and tactical rules, and I think they have a lot of potential, especially if the competitive meta eases up with like the teams with more than 10 models getting slight nerfs and like grenades being toned down. I think the elite teams, especially the Phobos Marines, have lots of legs, and they're just fun to play in general. Even the Chaos Guardsmen, even though I'm not a fan of them, I respect their power, and I think they're really good as well. Because as I said, 2 gunners, 4 crack grenades with like a roided out Ogrin charging your opponent. It's actually pretty tough to deal with. Your opponent's going to have to struggle to see who they actually kill in that regard. And it's like not thinking too hard, because you literally just like run, kill. And some people can't deal with that. And I think that's going to be very strong. And the terrain, as I said, I'm a big fan of the terrain. I was going to buy it before the box, but I'm really happy I got it. And then, yeah, you've got the Sentries rules, which are a nice addition to what you get if you want to play narrative or casual games. Pretty good. So overall, I'd highly recommend Kill Team Moroch. It's just a great pickup if you're interested in either the terrain or either faction. I think it's a really good buy, and it's just really fun to play. But that's pretty much it for me. Please remember to like and subscribe, comment, as well as check out my Discord and my patrons. My Patreon. But I'll quickly just thank my patrons. So for my Adepts of the Crit, I'd just like to thank Christoph, Kenzie, Tarun, Michael, and Theodore. And then for my Veterans of the Crit, I'd just like to thank Samja and Confucius. So thanks for your support. Really helps with just supporting me and the channel to help me improve stuff. So yeah, thank you so much. It really means a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me with Kill Team Moroch. Once again, thanks to Games Workshop for sending this out for free to review. But yeah, I highly recommend buying this from Kill Team Moroch. You know, either it's the Kill Team or the box itself. If you want to buy it, you can buy it from Games Workshop directly, or you can check out my affiliate link in the episode description below, which will net you a 15 to 25% discount from Element Games at no additional costs, while helping to support myself and the channel. So check it out if you'd like to. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you see. Well, I'd love to hear what you think about this all. I think it's really neat. As I said, I'm painting up the Black Templars. They might be ready by the time this video goes live. The Chaos Guard should be, and then should have a battle report soon. I think it's really interesting. I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go next because we're running out of kill teams. So I might just start getting brand new kill teams. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty interested. Yeah, until next time, even if you're outnumbered by slavering chaos warriors fielding lots of crack grenades, even if you're a sneaky space marine, you can always win as long as you can roll a crit.